So we're going to go from this soft hand. We're going to show you one other trick using the soft hand in just a second, but we're going to take and put this as a background. This is fine. Bet you didn't think I'd actually full speed. So we'll do a lot of this type of thing, whether it's splatters or drips or just some type of treatment as a background. And we're going to show you that in just a second as Jason goes over to set it up. But I'm going to take this and then put a textured piece right over the top of it. Now here's where the tricks come. All the textured stuff, everything that has a ridge or an edge to it, these are well, you just take the pile and kind of thumb through it. Just take it and kind of go, okay. Sorry, we're not in ideal systems. Anything that has an edge, that has a texture to it, the best method to do that is to use this screen. First of all, like we talked about, we open it up with higher tension. This one's at 35. This one's our magic 8370. That means 83 threads per inch with only a 70 micron thread. And if you look at it, you can see how wide open the mesh is. You can visually see that. It's usually a little tougher to see.
How much emulsion you got on there?
That's the next trick. The next trick is this is a 400 micron capillary film. Does everybody know what capillary film is? Capillary film is really nothing more than the emulsion coated on a carrier sheet rather than you using it liquid. So it's a sheet or in a roll, and then there's some methods. We won't spend a lot of time on it, but on the DVD that Ryonet has and that we have on the advanced techniques, we go over how to do these screens. Basically, it's a sheet, and you lay it down and you put a screen on the top of it. You use a like emulsion over the top. You hold the screen down and use that emulsion over the top of it, and then you dry it, and this 400 micron sticks to and the emulsion's on top, which is encapsulated the thread. So the emulsion's wrapped around the thread and holds on that sheet. Now it's really, really thick, but it's also super fast, so we can expose our imagery and still wash it out in a reasonable amount of time. So as I pass that around, you can come up and kind of put your fingers on it and see how thick that really is. Just like my drawing, the stencil thickness is in direct relationship to the ink deposit. Whether it's a little AB halftone that we can't see it standing up unless we look at a microscope, or high density type printing where we can actually see the edge. I'm going to start here with, this is our clear. We call it gel gloss clear. Put a little in here. Now this is a real thick ink, so it's got bigger chunks, so our holes have to be bigger. That's why we're using this mesh. We go with a much higher off contact because of that thick stencil. Now our goal is still the same. We want to fill the stencil, slice it off, and leave it on top of the fabric. So I'm going to give that a shot right here. Now we have to get a little more aggressive on our flood, because that stencil is so thick. So if you look here, I pushed it through so it kind of almost gets to the edge of that. Now on an automatic, we just use more pressure on our flood so that we could, for lack of a better term, squish it into the stencil. So ultimately, on an automatic, we use heavy pressure on the flood and real light pressure to release it. The static tension, and it's a different kind of tension, this will grab the ink and pull it through the stencil. So once you get it here, we don't have to use a lot of pressure. In fact, if we use too much pressure, we'll scrape the ink out of the middle, because basically as we push down, we pull it out. So the stroke isn't a super difficult one. It just takes a little work. you see the ink deposit on that. I'm gonna quick give it a flash.
What ink was this?
This is a high gloss gel, high gloss clear. What did I say? Gel gloss clear. And you can see how it kind of just clears out. Oops, I'm not quite cured. It's really difficult to see what's going on that, so I actually am going to turn this over. And once you get this moving more, it's pretty easy to work with. Now you can see how the ink deposit is. And as I heat that up, it will clear out.
When you put it on that thick, does that affect the cure?
You'll have to watch your dryer temperatures, not because it cures any differently than a regular plastisol, but there is much more ink deposit. So ultimately, you're probably gonna have to slow your belt down a little bit, or you're gonna have to increase the heat, or it's not gonna be crazy hard to deal with, like say a discharge. That's different. You have to force the water off and all those kinds of things. You just need a little bit more heat or a little bit more time in the chamber. So we'll do sometimes a print flash print to fill in the holes. And this is actually the same technique that's on the back of Jason's shirt. If you build it up, meaning you print, or flash print, if you want to build it up even taller, you're able to fill in all the holes and you can get really almost a glassy finish to it. So that's kind of just a regular black. Pardon?
How many layers on the back of the shirt?
That actually we were using 1,000 micron stencil, which is one of the, right. But it was 2 for sure as it built up.
But you just had a wider mesh.
Now this is kind of interesting to do. We can also do this tone on tone. It looks wet on all the other colors. It has that sticky, wet feel. And again, it goes back to giving people something to look or something to put their hands on.